my phone off here. Start to ping here. Yeah, first of all, I would like to mention that I won't be mentioning any company or product today because we stay neutral, but I will tell you this, that I started with the company I've been with now 25 years ago, and I started by sponsoring 4 distributors. And those 4 distributors now have grown to over 1,400,000. And the 95% of those came from the original 4. So that's got to tell you something there, that you don't have to note the word recruit a lot of people to build a large organization. We do not recruit people to sell. We sponsor and teach people to duplicate. And for people that are new, if you don't know what duplication is, it means when you sponsor someone, you help them go 3 levels deep, then you're duplicated. Now, the reason for the lack of duplication is why that people, when they get into network marketing and they think they're doing sales, can never make it big. It's impossible, and you're going to understand here in just a couple of minutes why. If you haven't read my book yet, Napkin Presentation Number 4 talks about what your business should look like. It should look like the biggest building you've ever seen in your life, and that represents a huge income. But you cannot see the building and you cannot see the income until you do a foundation. Well, to put up a big building, the foundation has to be deep. And that's what happens when you duplicate. See, what happens out there, you know, like a non-sales type of recruit, note the word recruit, a salesperson thinking they're going to get rich because they can bring in a lot of people. Well, that is true. They can bring in a lot of people. However, they could bring in, say, 50 to 100 people in 6 months to a year, but then you look at their genealogy after a year, have not duplicated themselves one time, not once. They might be 1 level deep in a few places, but 0 duplication. So what happens is that since there's no duplication, people are dropping off faster than they can add them. So now they think there's something wrong with the company, the product, the marketing plan, their sponsor, whatever. But someone shows them another hot program. Well, they're off to the races on their new hot program. So guess what happens after a year with their new hot program? Same thing. Now they're ready for the next hot program. You're going to run into people been in 2, 3, 4, 5 different companies, and they just keep moving on. And if you ever talk to someone like that, just let them know they did not fail in network marketing because they never did network marketing. They got in network marketing and they did sales, and sales does not work. So what do you think happens to the person that recruited a salesperson, seeing them bring in all those people and then move on to another program? You think, gosh, if that person couldn't make it, how am I going to make it? Then they end up quitting. Tell you a quick story. A guy by the name of Jimmy the Butcher Smith was a butcher for over 40 years, had to retire because of a back injury. So he got into network marketing. He loved network marketing, but he never did network marketing. He did sales. So for every year for 10 years, he was in a different program. He came across my training material and he learned that we do not recruit people to sell. We sponsor and teach people to duplicate. He was 52 when that happened. When he was 70 years old, he was worth 35 million. And when he got to 92, he was worth 90 million. We have the recording of a interview he did with Eric Worre, where 2 times in the interview, he mentions my name, and I'm 100% responsible for his success. Another quick testimony is a guy named Jordan Adler. He was in network marketing for 11 years, couldn't sponsor anybody because he kept trying to recruit people to sell. And you're going to see later where, you know, 95% of people don't have anything to do with selling. So anyway, he just happened to find my book at a garage sale. He bought it for 25 cents. He's now a multimillionaire. Now, I want to give you a personal testimony, but first I'd like to tell you that 100% of the people in the world not in network marketing do not understand it. 80 to 90% of people in it don't understand it. And you'd be amazed how many company owners don't understand it. And of course, that's why my book sold over 11 million copies. It's in all the major languages, because when they read it, they will understand it. So anyway, personal testimony. I tell you how many people we had come into my program in 25 years. And what I didn't tell you is that, we have a lot of great health products like your companies do too. But I have by accident only sold one product in 25 years. Some people were in my house. The product was on the counter in my kitchen. They asked what it was. I told them. They wanted to buy it. It's the only thing I've ever sold in 25 years, one product. However, my volume in my organization last month was over 13 million, and I'll do over 150 million in my whole organization by the end of this year. So anyway, bottom line again, I didn't do that by recruiting people to sell, because that doesn't work. I did it by sponsoring and teaching people to duplicate. Now, what I want to talk about now is your market. That means if you think you're recruiting people to sell your products, how many people, do you have that you can talk to that are really into health? Well, there are only 15% of the people in the world at any given point in time are either sick, hurt, or into health. And that breaks down to 8% that are really into health. Anybody that would argue that, I say, well, measure the square footage of your health food stores and all your supermarkets in town, you're not even going to have 8%. So you got a really small market. Now you have a lot of competition, because see, there's over 20,000 network marketing companies out there, and most of them don't have a clue what they're doing. They're in network marketing, but they're recruiting sales managers. They spend millions of dollars developing a holy grail of a product. They get ready to go to market, and they all make the same mistake, which will be the cause of their failure. They recruit a sales manager. Sales managers they recruited never sponsored a person a day in their life, network marketing, never built an organization in network marketing. So why did they recruit a sales manager when we're not in sales? We're in network marketing. Well, two reasons. I already said the first one is that they don't understand. And the second one, they're recruiting the sales manager to recruit people to sell. It doesn't work, okay? So anyway, you got a small market. They're all, recruiting to sell to the same 8%, of course. You got a small market, a lot of competition. But let me tell you, the biggest problem is 95% of the populations want nothing to do with selling. In America, a few months ago, it was on the news. They were talking about this, and it said that only 4.7% of the people in America want anything to do with selling. So round that off to 5%. Give you something to think about. 90% of the people in network marketing who don't understand it are looking for the 5% of the people who can't make it. Okay, so what I'm going to teach you today, you're going to have a market of 100%, because 95% of the people want something they don't already have. The 5% of the people on the top, they already have it all, and we say they can make great customers. So anyway, to build a large business, there's two basic elements. You've got your vehicle, which is your company, product, and marketing plan. You can have the hottest vehicle in the world, but if you don't know how to drive it, you're not going to go anywhere. And of course, knowing how to drive it is understanding network marketing. We have a simple analogy that's easy to understand. If you own a brand new Lamborghini or Ferrari, would you let your best friend go for a drive around the block in it if they did not know how to drive? Well, Nancy and I, my wife, she passed away, of course, last December, a year ago. But we traveled 35 different countries doing training seminars. We asked hundreds of thousands of people that question: would you let them drive it if they didn't know how? And everybody, 100% say no. But then think about it. People recruit somebody to sell. They spend days, weeks, and months trying to teach them how to sell when they don't want to sell to begin with. And they don't spend 1 minute teaching them how to drive. Well, I have the only app now in the world that teaches people how to drive. And I'll tell you more about that a little bit later, the progress we're making on it, and you'll see the difference. So when you use the tools that, we've evolved with the app, the system, and technology, you're gonna, like Adriana mentioned, be able to do in 2, 3 to 5 years what took me 25 years to do. So another analogy is that when you do what I teach you, it'll be like you hand the key to the vehicle to the person today. They get in the vehicle today, and they can actually start sponsoring people today. They're going down the freeway, sponsoring and teaching and building their business. Now note this, while they're building their business, they can learn all about the company products and marketing plan. The people who think they're recruiting people to sell, it takes them days, weeks, and months before they can even talk to somebody. It's like they have to lift the hood up on the vehicle, take the whole engine apart before they can talk to someone. Now, in those 35 countries that we did seminars in, I always started by asking the people, when you sponsor a new person, how much teaching time, training time does it take you before your new person can sponsor someone? Can you do it in 1 or 2 hours? No. How about 2 or 3 days? No. Then I said, well, how many of you have people been with you 2, 3, and 4 months and they still haven't sponsored anybody? You realize over half the people in the room would raise their hand. And I simply say, do you want to know why they haven't sponsored anybody? The answer is so simple. Nobody taught them something that they can do. It's one thing if you can do something, but if you don't have something that your people can do, you're not going to go anywhere. Okay, so bottom line, that's what we do. We teach them something to do. And we have a little secret to the system. We teach the people not to talk, okay? Because see, the more you talk, the more people think they cannot do what you're doing. And the more you talk, the more they think they don't have time to do it. So anyway, one other thing I want to mention is activity. What does that mean? That means in your organization, how many people are actively building a business? A couple months ago, I had a Zoom training. This woman, after the call, I said, how many people do you have in your organization? And she said 500. And I said, well, that's great. Now, how many of those are actively building a business? Got really quiet for 10, 15 seconds. And she said 10 out of 500. That is typical for the industry. The industry, I think, averages about 5% activity. That's it. And that's why virtually all the companies in this industry are going down. And they're going down because they're not teaching their people to duplicate. And these people get to the point where they're losing people faster than they can add them. It's happening with the companies too. And now people think there's something wrong and they jump into another company. So anyway, with our app, we're hoping to revolutionize the industry because then they can teach all their people, how to drive and understand network marketing. And that's the key to do that. So anyway, let me show you how this works. We have a hat, and the hat says, own your life. And we have a pin that says, own your life, okay? Now, you're talking to a friend or someone you meet. The person you meet, do not start this process I'm going to teach you until you've made a connection with them. Find out what they want, get them to know you a little bit, but don't do it unless you made a connection. Now, this is all I'm going to say about talking to a stranger, okay? Because once you understand what we're doing, you don't have to talk to strangers. You've got more people to talk to. Once you realize that it's not selling and anybody can do it, you'll have more than enough people that you can talk to. So let's say you're talking to a friend, and somewhere in the conversation, you simply say to them, have you ever thought about what it would be like if you could own your life? And that means having time, money, and health. Now, people have never thought about this before, okay? And just simply tell them, most people don't even know one person that knows someone that has all three. A young person, millennial, making 60 to 100,000 a year, have a little money, but they don't have any time because their job and their commute and things they have to do. Their health's okay. Older people, they have a lot of time, but they're running out of money and their health's going bad. So it's a simple question. How would you like to be able to own your life at a time in your life when you can enjoy it with your friends and your family? Now, what I just did there, that took 1 minute. If a person can learn that presentation 1 minute, they can build a business, because now the tools will take over and do all the talking for them. Not some of the talking, all the talking. So that presentation we call the Own Your Life. In fact, the book was the 45-second presentation, same book, but the title on it is now Own Your Life. And so anyway, that's how simple it is. People don't understand. And you ask that question, have you ever, how would you like to be able to own your life at a time in your life when you could enjoy it with your friends and your family? What can they say? Two possibilities. They can say, Don, I'll just keep my stupid, dead-end, boring job and work the rest of my life and end up broke. Most people will say, boy, that sounds interesting. Can you tell me more? Okay, so now we're done with step one, which took a minute. We're going to step two. And step two, they need to understand network marketing if they, want to own their life. So all we have to do is tell them that, hey, you need to understand network marketing, and I'm going to send you the first 5 chapters of the best-selling book, and I'm going to send it to you in print or audio so you can understand what we're doing. And when you understand, then we coined the phrase that now you know how to drive the vehicle. So anyway, that's, all we have to say to them, and ask them, how do you want it? Do you want to get the book by print or audio or both? Now, why is audio important? Well, a lot of people, they're getting to the point where they say they don't have time to read. Well, see, you can take your mobile device with you on your boring commute and change your whole life by listening to the 5 chapters while you're on your commute. Now, I want you to know is that it's their time reading the 5 chapters, not your time, okay? So now, think about before we had the app and the system and technology. People would buy my book, then they would send it to somebody. And I want you to think about what it cost you to send one book. Because, for example, you buy the book, that's the cost. But then unless you live next to the post office, you got to drive to the post office. We have places in California right now where gas is already getting up to $6 and $7 a gallon. So whatever it costs for your petrol or gas or whatever you call it there to get to the post office and home, you got to add that to the cost of the book. And then the time it takes you to go there and come home, that has some value. You stand in line in the post office, you buy the stamps, then you wait 5 days, say, for them to receive the book. Okay, so you call them in 5 days, say, have you received the book? They say they did. Have you read the book? They say they did. They lied to you. They didn't read the book, okay? That's what we call cooling off. From the time you talk to them to the time they got it, the 5 days, they've already lost interest. See, now with the app, that can't happen. Because see, while you're talking to them, you can actually send them the 5 chapters of the book anywhere in the world right while you're talking to them. So when you hang up the phone, they have it right then, okay? Now you're going to love this. When they start to read it, you get a ping on your mobile device letting you know they started to read it. If they hang up before they finish the 5 chapters, you'll get another ping saying they partially read it. And when they finish reading it, you get another ping saying they finished reading it. So how cool is that to be able to call them, say, 20 minutes after they finish reading it, and you don't have to ask them if they've read it because you already know they did, okay? Now, here's the best part. What it costs you to send out one book, for less than what it costs you to send out one book with all the things I described there, you can send out unlimited first 5 chapters with the app, okay? And that's getting into step 3, and you'll get a demonstration how to do that. So again, you call the person you already know they've read it, and now once they've read the book, they're ready to go to step 3. Now, incidentally, the introduce step 2 takes 2 to 4 minutes, okay? Add that to the 1 minute that you started with, okay? Step 3, Jeff Romaldi, my partner, he links his phone to the computer, shares the screen, and shows you how you send the book out, the 5 chapters. I'm saying 5 chapters, right now it's 4, but with the new upgrade app I'll tell you about in a little bit, we'll be sending out 5 chapters with the new upgraded book and so forth. So that's pretty cool. So this is something that anybody can do, and once you've done it 2-3 times yourself, it's a learning curve. You're down to about 20 seconds to be able to send it out. And again, the cost for one book, you can send out unlimited first 5 chapters. You could send out 10 a month, 15 a month, 20 a month, and it's only like $20 a month to be able to do that. And let me tell you, you can't send a book to anywhere in the world for $20. Time you buy the book and pay the postage and take your time and all that. So anyway, we move on to step 3. You get the demonstration of how to do it, okay? Now, once a person goes through everything that's on the app, and I'll describe here shortly what the other things you're getting with the app, then they're ready to look at your vehicle, your company, product, and marketing plan. Now, if they ask you any point in the conversation, what are you selling? Okay, what is your company? If you tell them, you lose, okay? Because as soon as you hang up, they'll go to Google, look up your company, they'll see all your products, and they're thinking, oh my, they're trying to get me to buy these products or sell these products, and they're not into health to begin with. You're done, okay? So someone asked me that question, all I say to them, look, if I was selling anything, it'd be an opportunity for you to own your life, okay? So anyway, total talking time with the 3 steps is somewhere between 4 and 10 minutes. Now, I just taught you virtually everything you need to know to build a business, and it took 20 minutes, okay? Folks, what we're doing, anybody can do. It's that simple. Now, when you get the app, here's other things you're going to get. You're going to get the book, the entire new upgraded book, which has been upgraded in 36 years. We didn't have technology and Zoom and WhatsApp and all this stuff back then. Okay, you're going to get the entire book in print and in audio. Now, you can't send the entire book out, but you'll have that for yourself. You have a section now, 70% of the people in the world in network marketing are women. So we have a section called Nancy's Wisdom. About 6 months before she passed away, she did a Zoom training that the women absolutely love, and it's good for the men to listen to. Plus, there's some interviews that she did, and we might have more content that'll be going in that section. We also have a section called Questions and Answers. And right now we have 25 most asked questions and answers. And if you ever have one that's not on the app, submit it to us, and periodically we'll be adding more. They're done by Zoom, run 2 to 3 minutes. And again, we don't talk about any companies or products and answering any of the questions. But let's say that you sponsor someone, and they sponsor someone who asks your new person a question. Well, they're new, they don't have the answer. How long does it take them to track you down to get the answer? Okay, now they don't have to do that, because all they have to do is look at their mobile device and find the question and answer, And then you can actually send that to them, just like you could send them the book with the tracking, and you know when they got it and when they read it, okay? Again, all these things, save you time. Other things that you're gonna get, we have interviews from three of the most popular podcasters in America, Tom Chenault, Simon Chen, and Peter Mingles. And when we did the interviews with them on Tom Chenault, after the interview, that interview went out to 500 radio stations. We have other podcasters now that want interviews, but we're not doing them now until we get the new app finished and the app ready to go. So we'll get that done. Thing we don't have on the app yet, and we'll be getting on the new upgraded app, are testimonies. And testimonies will run about 2 minutes on Zoom again. And the person can't mention the name of the company or their products, but I'll just give you an example. About a week or so ago, we had a woman on the call when we did the questions and answers, and we started adding testimonies, said that after hearing our training one time, the first week she signed up 2 people, and both of those people sponsored one. So that's the kind of thing we want to hear. And the other thing that's going to be on the new app is a Dr. Steve Hines. Now, he had been doing some training for us when we were just, doing some trainings and so forth as a guest, but now he's going to be permanently part of the app. He's a retired eye surgeon, multimillionaire, sold his practice, got into network marketing, been in it for 30 years. He's using our training and system now, and he's got the fastest growing organization in his company. If you have a doctor, dentist, lawyer, professional person, and they listen to him talk for 3 to 4 minutes, I'm telling you, if they don't join your program, man, there's something wrong with them, because this guy is really, really good. So bottom line, what it's like is that when you get the app, it's like you have myself, Jeff Maldi, of course in Poland, you'll have Adriana Skiris there, and Dr. Steve Hines in the palm of your hand anytime you want to use us. So all you have to do, and another section we're going to have in the app, which is not there now, is like this training we're doing here today, okay? And not being translated and so forth. We're recording all these. So there's going to be a section on the app where with the different languages, you can pick out a Zoom training, and then you can just get your people on a call, share the screen, and put on the Zoom training, which has been recorded. They'll have maybe 2 or 3 recordings, and you just pick out the one you want to use. So these are all tools that's going to really help accelerate your business. Okay, now, just so you know where we're at with the app. We started off with the company, made our first app, and we only sent out the first 4 chapters, and it's just in English. And the company only had 6 employees, okay? Could not keep up with us. Would have taken us years to get the app in different languages. There's over 200 companies in the world that make apps that we know of, and we narrowed it down to 5, and Jeff Maldi interviewed the owners from all 5. We ended up with a company in Canada that has 370 employees in 20 different countries. They have a whole team of people now working on our app, and in 4 months, we'll have 5 major European languages translated into their language. And number 1 on the list to get done is Poland. Okay, I've been doing anywhere from 1 to 5 Zoom calls, anywhere from 2 or 3 people to 100 people for a long time now. So we've got a lot of people that are waiting for the app in Polish. Now, understand what I'm going to say here. You can use the app we have now, okay? But do not, when you get to the bottom of the app, you sign up for the app, and it gives you 2 choices, okay? Monthly or annual. Do not get the annual, even though you're going to get 2 free months, okay? Reason for that is when the new app comes out, you are going to want the new app, okay? Well, if you are signed up on the one we have now, monthly, you just cancel it. These are two separate companies. So just cancel it and get the new one. But I'll tell you, if you do the annual to get the 2 free months, you can't cancel the annual because you already paid it. So just a little tip there so you don't end up doing that. So anyway, there's 5 steps to making an app. We've already paid for the first 3, and they're almost finished with the 3rd step. In the next 2-3 weeks, they will have the English app finished and upgraded and so forth, ready to go. So that becomes the base to add the other countries. So once they have the base done, they'll be able to add new countries every 2 to 3 weeks. So Polish is top of the list, followed by Italy, Germany, Romania, and probably Turkish, but that's to be decided. We already have people working on Chinese, Japanese. I talked to a guy in Tokyo last night that has a company that's been published my book there, and the guy wants to sell 1 million apps. The guy is really excited about what we're doing. We've got a number of companies now are already using the app, the original one, as a product for their company. So anyway, I had mentioned that what I teach you, you'll be able to do in 3 to 5 years. It took me 25. Let me go over that with you right now. It all has to do with the word time. See, before we had the app system and technology, we'd have a sizzle session and you'd meet in a restaurant, which of course for the last year or so, California, we didn't have any restaurants open. But anyway, you'd meet in a restaurant with 3 to 12 people coming from 3 to 12 different directions, driving 15 minutes to an hour to get there, hour and a half at the sizzle session. Some people didn't get home till like 11 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Now, back in those days, of course, the spouse was home taking care of the children. So let me tell you, if you were to do that more than once a week, you were in trouble with your spouse, okay? Now, can you imagine now with Zoom and Skype and WhatsApp and all the tools that we have, you don't have to, can you imagine if everybody in your organization did one sizzle session a day, how much difference that would make? That would be huge. Well, as you're growing, you could start doing 2, 3 a day. It doesn't matter because it doesn't take any time. You don't have to go anywhere, and it doesn't cost you anything to drive to these places with the price of gas and all that stuff. So that's going to save you a lot of time. Now, I already told you the book was written 36 years ago. So it stopped at 5. Because see, once you had sponsored 5 people who were actively duplicating, you were busy helping them with their people, et cetera, working downline. So you didn't have time to work with more than 5. Now you do. Okay, so once you have your 5, you add another leg and get them duplicating. Then you add another leg and help them and so forth. And you get it out to 10. So you can write this down. It's real simple. Back in the old days, it was 5. Then you help them, it's 25, 125, 625, 3,125, 15,625, 78,125. Now, can you imagine if you put the 10 next to the 5, you have a difference of 5. Then when 10 get 10, that's 100 next to 25, you have a difference of 75. Then 100 goes to 1,000 next to 125, you have a difference of 875. Now, if you just complete that out about 5 or 6 levels, just doing it yourself, it'll sink in a little bit deeper. Man, that is exciting. And let me tell you, once you get out to 10 with 10 active people, you're going to be doing in 3 to 5 years what took me 25. Now, another thing I like to comment about having 10 active people, okay? Once you have 10 people who are active, you can go the rest of your life and never sponsor another person, okay? Just help your people with their people, et cetera, down line. Understand that the people who are recruiting people to sell, they got to keep the rest of their life looking for somebody to sponsor because they're not duplicating. And most of those people don't stick around very long. They keep replacing new people all the time. And you can see why most people don't want to have anything to do with selling. So anyway, anybody, we can jump ahead here on the questions and answers. I would tell you one more thing too, couple more things. And that's, people ask me how I motivate my people, the people in our organization. Well, I would say over 95% of people in my organization live in Europe and I live in San Diego. So, they were 7,000 miles away. And they ask me, how do I motivate them? I say, I don't. I teach them how to motivate themselves. Now, I have a publisher in Australia. He told me one time that he read my book 10 times. And every time he read it, he learned something new, apparently because you're doing it at a different level. Same thing with the Zoom trainings. People come here once, they get it, they get it, but after they've come and listened to it a couple, 3 times, really sinks in, okay? So bottom line, the way this thing works is that it's gonna save you a lot of money because people are spending thousands of dollars to go hear these motivational speakers. They sit there for 2-3 days and they don't teach you anything how to build a business because they don't do it themselves, but they motivate you. And the motivation is what we call hot bath. And it's like when you get out of a hot bath, you cool off within a week, you're back where you started. Well, what I'm going to tell you right now will motivate you way more than that. And it's free. When you are duplicating and you're going down deep, 3, 4, 5 levels, okay? And you are asleep. And while you're sleeping, someone in that downline signs and sponsors a new person. You get up in the morning and you look at your internet and you see that you have a new person in your downline. You are excited. You are motivated, okay? So what do you think happens the following week? Okay, another person signs someone up and so forth. When I get up in the morning, not counting weekends, I have between 600 and 700 people a day that are signing up, okay? Didn't start with 6 or 7, it started with 1. And now with our system and our technology and so forth, people are starting to add people faster. They're going to be totally motivated. Now understand, people who are recruiting people to sell never get that motivation because people never sponsor anybody. So that's kind of exciting. Another thing that's kind of important is to talk about when you actually start someone in the business. Okay, now I already told you that when I, started, I sold 1 product in 25 years. Well, this has to do with overhead. Now, everybody knows what overhead is in a business. Now, there's 3 ways of building a business: the product approach, selling products, which that will take you, if you keep with it for 40, 50 years, you might make it. Okay, then the second way is the business approach, talking about making money. Okay, problem with the business approach is the word business, because what do people think of when they think of a business? Overhead. You got to put up a building, you got hire employees, you got inventory, payroll, long hours. That's overhead. Okay, then the third way, of course, is the own your lifestyle approach we do, which is the simplest and the quickest. So for example, when I get a person started, when I go to the company, remember, these people never been in a health food store because we're not looking for people into health. Never taken a health product in their life. What I do is I tell them about overhead, that all companies, you have to make a purchase each month of a product, or 2 or whatever, to be able to get paid. Well, the overhead for our company, when you do the overhead, I'm going to recommend 1 product for you, okay? You're not doing the overhead because you want the product. You're doing the overhead because you want to own your life. Now, since they had to buy the product anyway, they might as well take it. Okay. So, basically in 6 months, not 6 to 10 days, they come to me saying, Don, I don't know what's in that product, but boy, I've never felt so good and so excited about it and so forth. So if they don't go on the auto ship, most companies have auto ships, which get you the product every month at the same time. If they don't go on the auto ship and they forget to order the product within 5 to 6 days after they're out, the experience they have when they're out is greater than when they went on the product. That's why I have people who've been with me for 25 years that are not building a business, but they would never be without their product. Okay, now that you understand that, see, most companies have a catalog of all their products. If not a catalog, it's all on the internet. But prior to them having experience with the product, they have no interest in looking through the catalog. Once they've had this experience, they start looking at the catalog or what's on the internet, and they see different things. They say, gee, I want to try this, I want to try that, I want to try all these different things they want to try. Note that they are selling themselves. We do not have to sell them anything. All we do is we get our foot in the door with one product. Now, understand that, you know, companies that have a lot of products, okay, and our company has a lot of products, okay, if you think you're selling products, you got a problem, because people think they have to learn about all these products before they can even talk to someone, and that's hard to do when you're trying to teach that to somebody that doesn't want to sell. So we don't have to do that. We start with one and then add maybe one more, and let them see for themselves all the different products. Once they've had the excitement, you'd be amazed. I mean, you know, I was spending about, you know, $50, $60 a month when I first started with the company. And I'm upwards of around $500 a month on buying products. And, you know, a lot of these products, it's kind of a trade-off with the grocery store. So it really doesn't cost that much. And it's of course also a business expense. So why don't we do this? Why don't you stop the recording?